Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we're gonna do something slightly different that I do every so often when the mood strikes, I suppose. Every so often on this channel I'll talk about things that have been going on in my life, and I know that's not like the central theme of my channel, so if you want to skip this one, by all means. I'm gonna be talking about mental health because it's a life update and mental health is obviously part of my life. But I really wanted to post this now simply because the holidays are a difficult time, and I didn't want to post it on Christmas because I didn't want to depress people who might already be depressed. Oh girl, rein it in, please, Lord Jesus, rein it in. I voiced this here and there. Christmas is a difficult time for me. I don't really know why, because nothing terrible ever happened on Christmas, but I feel like once I grew up and, we didn't do the traditions anymore, or I wouldn't be in the same country as the rest of my family, or, whatever, once it stopped being that magical time, which it is for a lot of children, it just turned into something very dark for me, and there's no real reason that I can figure out why. I think a lot of it is the forceful happiness kind of thing, kind of like you have to have a good day, it has to be great, that kind of pressure that's put onto a day to be so great and so amazing that it almost gives you anxiety because you're like, well, what if I'm, it's just not that type of day for me. Christmas is a hard time for me. That's been established. New Year's is typically my favorite time of the year along with Halloween because typically on New Year's I am hopeful. The one time a year I'm actually hopeful. And since marrying my husband, we had this tradition where we would go to Las Vegas, which was a great luxury, to be honest. I was grateful for every single year I was there. A big reason why we would do that, for me, on my part, is because the idea of staying home during New Year's would make it feel kind of like Christmas in the sense of there's no massive celebration, there's no fireworks, people dancing in the street. I want something big like that almost, so it compensates for the depression that I might feel. Obviously this year we're not going to Vegas, obviously we're gonna be home, which, let me just preface this, a thing that I've started doing since quarantine, lockdown, whatever the situation is called now, is every morning, I don't write them down really, sometimes I do, but I think about things I'm grateful for. Everything I'm saying here is not me being ungrateful or me taking things for granted, because I've this year specifically become, I don't even know how many times more aware of how grateful I am. And obviously for my health and all the big obvious things, having a roof over my head, having a healthy family, all of these things were obviously the first things on my list. But now I've started listing smaller things that I really enjoy, but that I typically wouldn't think of. Like this morning, I started thinking about when you're at the beach and you close your eyes and there's hot air passing over you, or wind passing, and you just feel this overall warmth. I miss that feeling, but I also am grateful for that feeling. So we've gotten into the intricacies of being grateful for whatever it is you're grateful for. So when I say, oh, we're not going to Vegas, I'm depressed, it's not oh, we're not going on this fun vacation that we usually go on, which is valid, you're allowed to be upset about smaller things and bigger things and be grateful at the same time. For me, the scarier aspect of being home for New Year's, which is something I specifically have avoided for almost a decade now because I know where my mind goes, is the idea that I will be very much in my own thoughts, and that is alarming. Now, Jacob obviously knows this. We're kind of making plans at home to make a massive blanket fort and make it be kind of a different day, because frankly, every day has been really fucking the same, and it's messing with my concept of time, which I've mentioned here and there. But I guess I wanted to come on here to just say, if you're having a shit time during this holiday season, whether you celebrate Christmas or not, if it's just not your time right now, same. I think the last time I updated you guys, I said that my mental health had taken a nosedive. I believe that was on my second channel. I'll link that below if you care to see it. If that was a nosedive, where we are now is my nosedive took another nosedive. Kind of I thought I was at the bottom of the ocean, but instead I was very much at the surface. It's just been overall really difficult. All of my rhythms are off. I'm tired all the time. For the past 2 weeks, I've been waking up at 4 in the afternoon, which is bad. And I try to fix it by going to bed relatively early, like at 10, so then I can wake up at a normal time. But what ends up happening, because I have very bad sleeping problems, disrupted sleep, nightmares almost every night, sleep paralysis, between all these things, I'll go to bed at 10 and then wake up at like 4 in the morning and stay awake for like 3 hours and then fall asleep again. And then boom, I wake up, it's 4, the day's over, it's already dark out. In fact, I can't remember the last time I woke up before it was dark out. Yeah, it's been 2 weeks since I've seen daylight, really, which definitely doesn't help, and I'm really trying to fix that. But it's been hard because, like I said, I've been feeling so drained and tired all the time, which is a side effect of my depression. I know that for sure. I think also the reason why I wanted to just kind of put this out there is because pretty much every single one of my friends is going through something very similar or parallel to me, but you know, everyone has different symptoms of, you know, when your depression is flaring up. A lot of things that used to be very, very normal are very much outside of the norm right now. Example, I used to eat lunch and dinner, never been a breakfast person. Now there's just one meal that happens at any given time. Like, it doesn't even have a name. Like, it could happen that it's at 1 a.m. It could happen that I don't eat all day and then I wake up at 3 and decide to make a sandwich. You know, like it's just like, you know, whatever happens, happens, which is not really the intuitive eating I'm going for. Like, I like having, you know, around this time, this is the meal, around this time, that's the meal. Like, I very much relied on that also, you know, for my eating disorder to not feel out of whack. I'm recovered, sure, but like my eating can still become disordered if I'm put in particular situations. And I think a lot of people are kind of dealing with that one daily meal thing that happens at whatever time. And the other thing I wanted to touch on, which I know a few of my friends are dealing with as well, which is why I really want to underline it, because if so many people in just my friend group are dealing with it, I can imagine that probably quite a few of you are dealing with it as well. Whether you have body dysmorphia or not, I've regressed very badly with where I thought I had arrived with like being okay with my body, blah, blah. I think that around August, I was still relatively okay. And since then, it's just turned into like a problem for me. Now on Instagram, it might not seem like it because I like doing cosplays, and a lot of cosplays realistically include clothing that might be tighter in certain areas. And I've also been posting less on Instagram, that is very much related, along with, you know, waiting for costumes to arrive. It has turned a bit into like, I can't look at myself in the mirror. Like, I can do my makeup like up to here, it's fine, but anything lower, we're not doing that. Like, I posted this picture on Instagram the other day where I was cosplaying as the Joker, and the whole time I was like getting dressed in the thing, I turned my back from the mirror, which made it that much harder because with long nails and small buttons and having to look down and try to put it on, it was really difficult. But I would rather just struggle, which I did for like half an hour, than turn and see my body in the mirror. I just didn't want to see that. And that's how it's been for a couple of weeks now. Like, as soon as I'm done with any of my cosplays, just so it's clear, I take those off with my back turned to the mirror and go into something like this, something that's probably like 6 sizes too big for me, realistically. And I don't want to see it. I don't want to think about it. It's hard to explain, but it's not even the fact of like, oh yeah, you can't look at your own body, like that's a problem, but it's more the fact of like where your mind goes when you refuse to look at something, because then you start projecting and you start thinking that your situation is probably way worse, let alone with body dysmorphia. Even when I was at my thinnest like a couple of years ago, I still thought I was like the most horrendous human on earth. Like, I thought my legs were a shape that they aren't even. Like, it wasn't even about being thin or not thin. It was just like, I was just not seeing myself in a representative way. And now I think because I refuse to just look at my body at all, I just come up with all these things of like, oh my God, you know, like all the areas of my body that I don't like have gotten 10 times worse. And then to get back into the place I want, I'm gonna have to do this and that. And it's just like, it just spirals. It spirals entirely. And it's sad because one of my favorite things, you know, on planet Earth is fashion. But it's like, I have things that I bought from months ago that still have their tags on them because I was at a better place months ago that now I'm like afraid to put on because I think I'm going to start crying if I see what I look like, which is, you know, when I say it, it sounds like very dramatic and ridiculous. But I think that with having had an eating disorder and still sometimes having disordered eating or like weird thoughts to do with food put together with body dysmorphia, it turns into this thing that just feels like it's going to swallow you whole in some way. And I think a lot of people are dealing with that in, you know, being in lockdown or generally staying home a lot, because I think all of our rhythms are thrown off. So we don't know if we're eating enough or eating too much, or if we're drinking enough, or if we're, you know, like, it's just like everything that had like its one place now does not have its place. And I think that because now we're closing to a year since shit happened, really, that it's really becoming evident of like, oh, shit's fucked up. I don't know what other way to put it. I just think it's like a very heavy time, and I by no means have the worst of anyone in the world. On the contrary, like I said, I'm grateful to have everything I have. I'm lucky, and that's why I do the morning routine thing of like listing things I'm grateful for or listing things I appreciate in life, because I want to continuously be aware that I'm grateful and that I'm lucky. But I also think even if you are lucky or, like in my state, grateful, I don't think it's good to repress any kind of negative feeling, because there will always be someone who has it worse and there will always be someone who has it better. And you are allowed to be upset about what you're upset about as long as you you contextualize the big picture. But I think I've been repressing a lot of it because I don't want to come off as like, oh, I'm at the worst place ever, I'm suffering more than anyone, because no, not at all, not in the least. But there are certain issues that are still there and that I can't just really pretend aren't there. I just wanted to talk about that with you guys. Like, I don't know if that's interesting at all, but I figured that it's at least nice in a weird way to hear that someone else is dealing with similar things, if not the same thing. The basic gist of the video is like, if you're feeling the same way, we're gonna be fine. We might have a few mental breakdowns, but we'll get through it, as we always have. We all have 100% track record of getting through our shittiest fucking days. So there's that. But if you do want to use the comments as an area to vent or give advice or tips or anything in relation to what's going on, I support it. I suggest it, especially if you just want to get something off your chest, you just want to kind of type it out and then send it into the ether, go for it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.